Kyle is crap, they said, you know, next to J Bear almost. Well, look at this damage. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. That is not a true statement very clearly. I mean, look at how much this is doing better than Blair does and is built in the Blair build we put up definitely S tier. The damage here is absolutely amazing. He's able to clear this room without a problem. You know, we're not losing health, we're not losing the shield, we're just punishing these enemies for being in this room. You know, certainly it doesn't hit as hard when it starts to come to the mini bosses or bosses, but we have something else in our arsenal for that. We'll get into that later. So an extraordinary kit with some extraordinary survivability and certainly enough damage to get you through 400% content or anything else in the game that you might want to do solo or with a team. When it starts coming into the boss fights, you know, we can protect ourselves with our shield, build up our resource, use that energy to clear any of the little ads that are running around, get ourselves in position for a launch. For we do have to watch out for this, we'll talk about in a second. We launch ourselves in the air and then we just bombard the boss. I mean, watch this boss's health just disappear. I mean, we just nuked him. I mean, absolutely nuked him. It's incredible what this kit can do, and certainly Kyle has some redeeming qualities. You know, being able to spam his first ability, which, you know, obviously knocks back or kills enemies, and then using that special resource that he's built up from doing that, he's able to just clear the remaining ads with his third ability. He's able to, you know, use this energy against the bosses when they get their defenses in place, and we start to see the little mini bosses appear. You know, we can take them down or clear their balls when they appear. Certainly, you know, when they've got their balls over their head, we can pop our third ability and clear those the same way that Bunny would. This is an incredible part of this kit as well. And certainly, as we, you know, work through this the second mini boss, you know, same thing. Just immediately erase them, get some DPS on him, get him out of there. Launch ourselves into the air, and see, this is one of the things. We do need quite a bit of room above us to be able to launch ourselves in the air, so we can't do this in close quarters, but we can turn around and drop bombs on everyone and then get back into the fight. So it's a great kit, certainly, and I would say he's S tier when it comes to mobbing. So let's get into what this S tier build looks like and some of the choices that we made and some of the options that you have. So as promised, we're going to jump right onto the build here. We are working with Kyle. You know, Kyle was actually a surprise for me as well, particularly this mobbing build. You know, so let's jump right on into it here. So for the modules, we are using superconductive bombing. You could, you know, choose different mods certainly for this, but I did find this comfortable, particularly in mobbing. It does come with some challenges. We'll talk about those challenges as we go through the build, right? So one of the things we are focusing on here is cooldown. We do want to be able to spam his third ability. We were focusing on his third ability here. His third ability, for reference, is magnetism spurt. So we're basically, you know, blasting them with that, and that is a very effective, as you saw from the gameplay, and we'll show you a little now as well. So it just allows you to continually trigger this. It's a little bit slower than it used to be, apparently, but it still does the trick. You know, it's you know, every couple of seconds you can pop it, and as you can see, you're clearing the ads and getting rid of everything. So when hit by enemies in the magnetic spurt state, the magnetic force is consumed instead of shields and HP. When the magnetic force is consumed or the skill button is pressed again, it just charges magnetic force to deal damage. When the skill ends, restores shield to nearby allies and self proportional to the max shield. So it does you know, a little bit of a buff to everyone else, and certainly get you the kills. So we're spamming this, and so we're focusing on being able to have some cooldown. We're using nimble fingers for that. Skill cooldown is minus 25.6%. And then MP conversion as well to give us a skill cooldown of minus 36.5%. Slight hit to max MP, but as you saw, it's not really affecting us any. We are using the focus on dimension mod because this is a dimension skill. So that gives us the additional cooldown from that and the boost to the damage. We're also using multi-talented because it is a dimension skill. It gives us an additional cooldown of minus 20.5%, so we can keep spamming that, and it makes our other abilities last longer as well. I mean, cooldown faster as well. So if we pop it and then pop something else, we'll still get that
cooldown advantage. So very helpful in that. Focus on non-attribute for additional skill power and additional cooldown. So this is, that's 4 cooldown mods in play there. The next thing we're focusing on is range. We want that explosion to be as big as it can be. So we are capped at 250%. So 250% is max expandable, but we're, as you can see, so 200, see, what would that be? That would be 16 plus 4, so 20. We're right at it, 19.5. So 19.5 is just under that threshold. So everything we've invested in it is certainly, worth doing. How we're getting some additional range is we are using the amplification control that gives a skill effect range of plus 51.7% and some shield as well, which is beneficial. And we'll talk about that. Remember, it talked about it before. It said when the skill ends, it restores shields to nearby allies and self proportional to max shield. So max shield is important here. And this is why instead of HP, we're focusing on increased shield, giving us 151.9% increased shield, and HP conversion max shield 158% with a hit to max HP of minus 54%. So that is the synergy there and the reason we're doing that. So that is the mods. I'll leave it all off of there so you can take a quick look at it, take a picture, whatever it is you like to do. And from there, we'll jump into the rest of the build. The reactor we're using is the materialized phase reactor. We have rolled Secret Garden on this. We'll talk about why we're using Secret Garden and Enduring Legacy here in just a moment. But certainly big advantage there, as well as the Executor. The Executor is what came on it, obviously, so we weren't focused on that. As far as the additional rolls at the bottom, we are getting a dimension skill boost. Obviously, this is a dimension skill that we're using, and a reduction in skill cost. So, fair. You could also look for non-attribute skill. Duration. Duration wouldn't be as big of a hit, but certainly, range we've already maxed out for the most part. So, but if you had some range, maybe you could repurpose some mods, so that could be beneficial to you as well. Let's dive into the components now. We are using the Bravery set to give us some additional shield. Obviously, we had the need for the shield to give us additional buff there, and then HP recovery. We are looking at max HP because we're taking a hit to our HP, and then MP recovery out of combat, and then max MP and MP recovery out of combat on the other set. Looking at again the shield for this, and then the invader set we're using to get additional shield with defense and shield recovery in combat. We don't really need the shield recovery in combat. The amount of shield that we have is what we have set at max. It doesn't really look at what you currently have, so don't stress over that if you don't find those pieces. And you can see here I have max shield, but I don't have anything that's going to increase the shield or help me recover the shield or anything else for that matter. So not necessary there. Let's talk about the weapons real quickly. We are using Secret Garden. Obviously Secret Garden has a unique ability that pairs well with him. Our first ability and our first ability is a tech ability, and our fourth ability is a tech ability. Our other two abilities are dimensions skills, so we do get both of the benefits here depending on which particular skill we're using. So if we're spamming R1 to build up our charge, when we're doing that, we can turn around and use pest control because that's a tech skill. Pest control will trigger 50% of the time for a duration of 10 seconds, stacking 3 times. So that means our firearm ATK and our skill power will increase. So this is huge. If we could do this a few times, get this done, build up our resources, great. That's effective. Also, if we use our dimension skill, then it will trigger our custom resource development, so we can use our dimension skill, shoot some enemies with the gun. That'll give us our custom resource recovery back as well. So this huge benefit. So carrying this gun around while you're using him is a simple choice. This should be your primary, and then switch to anything else that you need to do if you need to do some additional damage. The build for this is here. I'll show you that real quickly. Pretty straightforward build. And then we'll jump into Enduring Legacy. Obviously we've talked about Enduring Legacy in the past. Enduring Legacy has the added benefit of quenching, which is triggered by any kind of fire. So we have a fire build. We'll show you the build on the gun after this, but we have a fire build on this gun. So what that does is duration of 4 seconds or 0.4 seconds, max stacks of 50. We get fire resistance of -5% and fire resistance per stack of 0.8% with an increase to firearm ATK of 11%. So this just boosts this weapon's abilities on any character. It doesn't matter whether they're fire or not, as long as you have modified the gun to do fire damage itself, which we have with fire enhancement. This just means that the gun does, tremendously good damage. So we are using these two weapons. The shotgun's just because it was on the mount, and I've just been playing around with it. Nothing special on that. I'm still working on the build. So that is all I've got for you today. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing the next one, and bye for now.